Hello and welcome to the Happiness Is podcast with me, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness is Egg Shaped, and we are back for another pod with a very special guest. I say this at the beginning of every pod that I am very excited, and today I am no different. I am very excited. Legend is used often and far too often, but so is the phrase, I know legend is used too often, but this person really is a legend, and I'm going to use both of those. This person really is a legend. I am in the presence of greatness, and that has got to be a good pod starter. This person is the most capped player for their country. That is spectacular. This person's won the World Cup. They've been the best in the world. And it took them a little while to get there. And when they did, I think it was even better. They've been for a visit to see the Royals, to be given one of those things that you get on New Year's or for her birthday. What a spectacular person, and still going strong. Still going strong. And like me, loves coffee and dogs. So without any further ado, let's bring in the one and the only, and I hope by the end of the pod, I'll be allowed to call her Rocky. It's Rochelle Clark. Hello.
Hey, thank you. What a welcome. And yeah, please call me Rocky.
Yes. Yes,
so
that's
you're
it.
All good. What an amazing intro. I love it. Thank you very much.
Well, it's hard not to. It's trying to pick out the highlights from what has been an unbelievable career and just keeps going.
Yeah, I've stuck around for a bit, I must say. Not easy to get rid of. Been around the block, but still chasing eggs and loving it. So all's good. Plenty of life in the old dog yet.
Plenty, and it's just your energy is amazing. The young bucks at Sarries must love having people like you and Tamara Taylor involved in the squad.
Yeah, I must admit I do get quite a bit of stick off of May Campbell and some of the youngsters, but now I give them a run for their money, bit of banter, and love doing all the training and playing together. It's so much fun, and they're a really good bunch of girls.
And do you feel quite special in this time being able to play?
Oh, mate, it's such an honour to be able to pull on the shirt at any point, but let alone in middle of a huge pandemic, and so many people are trapped in their houses and haven't been able to do anything. And for me, that little bit of normality and getting out there on a Tuesday and Thursday training and the game on a weekend has been huge and really good for my mental health. And seeing my teammates and training has been really, really great.
And has that been important for all the group? Do you think the mental health aspect has been the most important bit of it?
Oh, it's huge. Like, makes such a difference. As we know, being able to see people and connect and have conversations face to face, that has been massive. And even better that I get to play rugby and do the game that I love. So throwing a rugby ball around is just tops it off. So it's been great, and I think all the girls have really appreciated that have been able to get out and see people and play the game they love.
And what do you chat about? Because changing rooms are usually about what you've done, what your plans are, what you're going. What is there to talk about? Where did you go for a walk? Is it just the same as everybody else?
Yeah, well, Matt, the last few weeks I've been a couple of times. People have walked in with a coffee, so I've been chasing them around, wondering where they've got their coffee from. So that's generally my chat, or I'm in and out of the physio room. Bit of chat about giving me abuse for my little dance routine I did when Emma Uren scored her try, and then we take the mickey out of May, and it's just a bit of banter really, and there's lots of smiles and it's great to see girls playing with a smile on their face and enjoying it. So yeah, I think that's evolved around where you've been for a walk, what you've eaten, and that kind of what training you've done.
Yeah, it's pretty limited, but the banter never stops. Now I'm going to read something to you that's from an article you did, and I absolutely love it. And this is hopefully going to spark us off. No, don't be worried. You said, I look back on my 15-year England career and think of the friends I have made and the opportunities we were given. I have shared some incredible experiences with so many great people. Now, in the career you've had, that was what you said. You didn't mention trophies. You didn't mention a result. You didn't mention any of the honours you've got. It was the people and the experiences. Is that it for Rocky Clark? Is that the good stuff?
Oh, it's all good stuff, but yeah, quite interesting. I didn't realise I hadn't sort of put the two together, I guess. But I've always been somebody who's there in the moment, and I just keep wanting to be in the moment. That's why my career lasted so long. And you know, whether it was my first cap or my last cap, I'd give 110%. And you know, I do so still when I wear the Sarries jersey, and every training session, you know, I'm always giving it my all. So I think that's probably a bit of a secret to it. And like I've said before, the friends and the teammates I've made along the way, it's just been huge, shaped my life. And you know, I've got friends for life now. And the places I've been, you know, been playing out in New Zealand just before the Lions game was huge, and beating New Zealand in their own backyard. Obviously, winning the World Cup, third time lucky, was the best day of my life by far. And you know, I look back at some amazing things, and I can't even believe that it's my life, because as you read it off, I'm like, oh, fair play, that's pretty good. I'm like, oh my god, that's me, that's cool. So yeah, it's pretty up there. But yeah, the people doing the things I've achieved, they've been the bonuses along the way. So happy days.
So when I hear that and I try and pick those bits out, there's one of them that sticks out for me. Now, I listened to Johnny Wilkinson talk about the World Cup final, and he said he would give anything for the last, I think it was 15 seconds of the game, because that was the feeling. Knowing we were in control, knowing we were in the moment. When the whistle went, obviously you celebrated and you were happy. And I think he was trying to get at that then the feeling was on its way down. How did you feel in those final seconds getting towards that final whistle? Can you remember, or is it just all imagining what you felt like?
Oh, I felt hugely panicked, stressed, and not in control at all. And I remember Canada making a break past the halfway line, and I was like, oh my God, we're going to lose it, even though theoretically we couldn't, because there was only like, I don't know, a minute or so left, and they'd have to score 2 tries. And so I would just remember the huge panic, and I never gave up until that final whistle went. And it was just scrambling panic to get back. Like, oh God, I don't want to be the reason we lose the World Cup. Like, you know, you just gave it everything. And back then we only had one prop on the bench, so I'd played the full game. And so I was like hanging, but I was like, just keep going. So yeah, it was pretty epic. I'd probably go 15 seconds after the whistle had gone, because the initial feeling after the whistle had gone was just relief, and just thank God we've done it, rather than, you know, pure exhilaration. That came laughter. Once it had sort of gone in, I was running around swearing, going, we've effing done it, we've effing done it. But initially, I think I dropped on my knees and was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And then then all the excitement and celebrating came.
And based on the previous experiences, like you said, it was third time lucky, I suppose. You plan for everything. You plan for, if they have the ball in that space, we're here and here's how we defend. If we get the ball to that touchline, here's how we set up. You don't plan for what happens after the final whistle.
Yeah, really good point, actually, because it just all like carried on this snowball effect. I didn't realise like how big it had got in the press, and we were invited to so many things, which was just amazing. And I remember my forwards coach Graham Smith at the time, he was saying that I'd go to the opening of an envelope because I just said yes to everything. Like, it gave me a load of stick, but I loved it. I went to a Celine Dion concert, I went to Lady Gaga, I went to Wimbledon. It was just so fantastic. I just had the best time, and I dined out on it as long as I could. So yeah, it was super. And I had my medal on for ages. I remember like going up to a coaching session, I had it on underneath my top, and it was just so good to finally do it. Everything I've worked towards came together in that sort of 80-minute game.
And I spoke to Kelly Brown about this, and he was talking about Saracens and how the priority wasn't really about winning things, it was making memories. And from those memories came success because of the environment they created and the culture that they had. You mentioned in that same article, you actually use the word luck quite a few times. Now, I would come back on that and say, I reckon you made a lot of your luck by putting yourself into situations where maybe luck came along. You've spoken about dining out on it and taking Celine Dion, Lady Gaga, Wimbledon, and why wouldn't you? Like, I'm there on all of those things. Good on you. But has that always been Rocky Clark? Have you always jumped to opportunities to do stuff and try things?
Oh yeah, I think you've got to. Like, I don't think you can have a massive opinion about something unless you've done it. And you know, when we're talking about getting the opportunities from winning the World Cup, you know, I went to the races, and I've never been before, but it was great. I had a fabulous day and really enjoyed it. And I think you should try things. I think you should be really rounded and try lots of things. And it's like the same in rugby. If you get the opportunity to help cover another position, why wouldn't you? Because then you have a better understanding of what those players need from you for your position to do well. So, and you have empathy. And I think that's a huge thing in the game.
And you started by accident, as lots of people do, because let's face it, rugby's a bloody stupid game. Lots of people find it by accident. But from what I know, you found your place. You found your sense of belonging in rugby. How did that help? But two, how does that help you now in the role that you have as role model, most cap player, coach, PT, level 4 coach, somebody who wants to grow the game? How does your own experience help you with making the future of the game better? So there's two parts to that. One, what was it like for you? And two, what you're going to do with it?
Can't remember the second bit. Okay, so the first part. So when I first started, I fell into the game. A school friend was short, playing for Beaconsfield, and she was like, please come and play. I was like, no, rugby's a game where you get hurt and injured. And, oh, no thanks. And she was like, oh, we're really short. And I was like, oh, go on then, let's try it out. And I absolutely loved it. I did 2 training sessions, and they threw me into my first game. Didn't have a clue what was going on, but they give me the ball and I just run. And because I was a big girl at the time, I was quite hard to tackle. I was like, oh, this is good. And everyone was like sort of coming around, slapping your back and being like, oh, well done, brilliant. So for years, I still didn't know about what the laws were and things like that. I was just running around headless. But the experience that gave me to now give back to the game and see those youngsters starting out in rugby is just so exciting. And I want to give them the best experience so they fall in love with the game and get everything that I've got out of it, whether you're a sort of low level pub team or if you're striving to play at the top end. Like, I want everyone to fall in love with the game and give them the opportunity to do so. So that's what I see my role as.
So you've spoken about love and getting involved and no matter what happens. So when you first started, you can't have imagined that you'd be sitting a few years ahead as England's most capped ever player, a World Cup winner, having been to a Celine Dion concert for free. Like, why were you doing it? Just because you were getting some credit for it? You were beginning to feel part of something?
Yeah, and it was the feeling part of it. And as I've said in one of my answers that you've already said before, that it's really important to me to have that sense of belonging, be a family, make the friendships along the way, long-lasting friendships. And, you know, at that young age, at 15, I was getting that reward on and off the pitch, you know, the plaudits on the pitch for, you know, doing well and sort of carrying hard and doing well in the scrums. And then off the pitch, I'd made a lot of friends, and that was really good for me and brought me out of my shell, and that was huge for a youngster who wasn't as confident and was a bit shy, and I was overweight and stuff, to give me the confidence to then be like, actually, I found my purpose, and that was huge to me, and that's why retiring internationally was so hard, because you feel like you lost your purpose, but I've now sort of focused my purpose in other ways.
What was the ripple effect of that 15-year-old gaining confidence from rugby? What else happened? Did you then stick your hand up to answer in class? Did you go and try other sports because you thought, if I can get that from rugby, I might be able to get it elsewhere? What happened to young Rocky Clark on the back of rugby being something that built your confidence?
Yeah, it gave me the confidence to you know, put my hand up in class, to be more of a a present person within the social group. I can be a bit of a character at times and muck about and stuff. And it gave me the confidence to do that and not be embarrassed as well, because previously I was embarrassed and I was shy about my weight. So it was really, it was about just embracing me and letting me come out and my personality shine. So that was wonderful at the time. And I'm, so glad that I got that opportunity at that age, and it shaped me as an adult hugely, for sure.
I love that you say that you had a muck about, because I don't think anybody who can get to 100 caps is able to just be in the zone all the time. You have to have the switch on and switch off. So what sort of character is Rocky Clark in the changing room before a game?
Mixed really. Depending on the game, but mostly I think I'm quite good at being able to flick the switch when I walk out onto the pitch.
That's the excuse people give that are annoying everybody else in the changing room. Oh yeah, but I switch on when I go on the pitch.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm not the person particularly dancing around the changing room or swinging off, the lights. I'm not that person, but I'm certainly, because I'm so busy in and out of the physio room, like getting patched up and wheeling the old bird out. I'm sort of in and out really. Bit of banter, and I'll tell you what, props. Or I don't know if it's just me, but definitely the props I've known, like Laura Keats, Sophie Hemming, Purdy. For some reason, we're this breed that take forever to get ready. Like if I leave the house, I can be quick as you like up, dressed, out if I need to be in a rush. For a rugby game, generally I'm always the last person out, and I'm still trying to ram my insoles from my trainers into my shoes, or still pull them on my shirt, my thermal. I have my little routines, and then I have to go for a wee, and I'm like the ultimate faffer. So I'm probably spend most of the time, once I've mucked around a bit for the first 10-15 minutes, and then I'm playing catch up. I'm like, damn it, why am I not ready? So I remember Jeanette Shaw, our England manager, just going, this is just typical Rocky. I think it was 2010 or was it 2014? One of the World Cup semi-finals. And I'd got new boots. And I was really excited about these new boots. But I always warm up in Maldives because I'm really old and my feet are literally like birds' feet. So they're all gnarled over toes. So I have to preserve my old feet. So then I'll go to put my boots on, literally 5 minutes before kick-off. And I'm like, I don't know if I can swear or not on this, so maybe I won't. But I was like, beep! I haven't got my studs in my boots, so I had brand new boots with with the football studs in. So I had to unscrew them. I've got all the non-playing reserves helping me. Everyone's like using the keys to open the studs, and I literally put the last stud in as we're running out. And I lost a couple of studs in that game, but it was all fine. But Jam Man was just like, "What is wrong with you?" I've always been the girl that goes to training, and I've always got to carry a bag, even though we got free boot bags and stuff like that. I'd just be the girl holding the Iceland carrier bag or something, with my boots in. I love
that. Every team has one of them. Every team has one of them, but as you say, for some reason they seem to be able to flick the switch. They go out and have an absolute stormer. So the abuse that they should get, they tend to avoid because they get it right in between the whistles. So yes, love that. So a World Cup, two goals and you didn't win it. Was the plan before each of them to win it?
I tell you what, that would have been nice. Would have made things so much easier. But yes, it was very much so. So I got capped in 2003 and went to my first World Cup in 2006, and the experience was epic. I've been with all my sort of childhood heroes, and I was now part of the team, and I've been in there for a few years. So I've got in there sort of socially as well, and one of the girls used to say, you can't speak till you've had 10 caps. I was like, all right. So wench being a bit, having a bit of banter, or Karen Andrew. And so I was sort of firmly in there, and we were out in Canada, really, really tough games. And we lost to New Zealand in the final, and that was so hard. And I tell you what, that was one of, ironically, the worst days of my life. I felt like my heart had shattered into a million pieces. And I was just like, I'm going to the next one and we're going to win this. Obviously, roll on 4 years. We'd kept quite a few of the squad. There's some of the older stateswomen had gone, but we'd regrouped and set, and it was in obviously London, and we were like, oh, this is amazing. Home crowds, like the game had started really getting momentum now, and lots of support. I got my 50th cap running out for the first game against USA in the opening game in 2010. Had a really good tournament, and then played New Zealand, and just in that last little bit they got a penalty and won 13-10, and that was heartbreak, but of a different kind. And that's why I talk about 2014, because I would have put my house on 2010, we'd have won. 2014, I was like, well, there's no more to go. We'd done everything we could, and we knew we could win, but we also knew about 5 other teams could win as well. So it was a case of us just obviously playing each game as it came and getting through, and it was amazing experience, and one why I wouldn't. So many people asked me why I didn't retire then, and I was like, well, I love it. I'm still enjoying it. Like, why would I? So I obviously carried on to the 2017 one, and unfortunately we're on the loss that time. But nothing will ever take away the gold medal that I've got. And 1 out of 4 ain't bad. So yeah, and the amazing experiences and things I've achieved along the way, and winning Grand Slams and Europeans and things like that. You can't knock it.
Have you read Catherine Spencer's book?
I've got it on my reading list to do, but I'm
that's no. Don't give me this excuse.
No, she's one of my good mates, and I've got it on my reading list to do. So fingers crossed, I'll get it. I must admit, I'm really not a reader, but I promise, and I will say this publicly, I will have read it by the end of the year. But I very much support it.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad. Well, did you pay for your copy?
No, I'm waiting for a free one.
Yeah, so I support it, but I need a free one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we're getting a real insight into the real Rocky Clark here.
I use carrier bags as boot bags. Come on.
Because in that, she talks about she didn't get that chance. She didn't get to go back and win it, and there were obviously players from the 2 previous tournaments who didn't get to be there. Did your phone go nuts beforehand with go on, do it for me as well, or did it go nuts afterwards with congratulations, I'm so happy? Did those players stay involved in the process?
Yeah, we had quite a lot of the players that had come out, which was really, really nice, and it was really hard. One of our best friends had got all the way up to the tournament, and then the team had sort of trimmed down, and unfortunately she wasn't a part of it. But it was amazing to still have her out there. Georgina Gulliver, one of my best mates and part of the Spice Girls group. That's what we used to do as well, call ourselves the Spice Girls and muck about. But yeah, and those girls are out there like Amy Garnett, some of the old girls were there, like TJ, Jenny Sutton, and they were like, the embrace they gave us, Rob Clayton, the embrace they gave us, like when we got off the coach, and just like hugged us so tightly, because they were so proud, because some of them lived on with us. And Katie McLean's speech afterwards, it wasn't just the 22 that took to the field, it was doing it for all the players that had gone before us, and that really is true. And I'm hoping, although it's very, very difficult for those players to not get that chance, equally hopefully they feel something that we did it for them as well.
I just got shivers in the back of my neck there when you were talking about them giving you the big embrace, because I love that emotional connection. So you're stood on their shoulders to a certain extent, although you were with them, and the game has now got to a point where we were talking off screen about the numbers of people who are watching on streaming, and the future of the game. You've played a huge part in that, and you've come through probably the most accelerated period of time for the women's game, and are absolutely a role model for those who are coming after. What excites you about the next 5 years or 10 years in the game?
Oh, well, you just see how the game's going from strength to strength, and the opportunities that the ladies are getting now, more commercial deals and ambassador roles. The games are being, like the Allianz 15s are being streamed most weekends. So that's brilliant for the game. And now, obviously, we've just heard that Six Nations is going to be available to everybody through BBC iPlayer, and the final round is going to be on, I think it's BBC Two. So those kinds of things are just going to grow audiences, and it does numbers keep improving. And the sellout crowds that we're getting when they're playing up in, say, Doncaster and things like that has been huge, and Exeter. So we just, it's clever. We're getting everybody behind us, and then with the new WXV's game as well coming up, the 16 teams from 2023. That's massive, and it's just going to keep going from strength to strength. The next 10 years are pivotal and really exciting to be a player within that team and who's got a long career ahead of them. Like I say, a Poppy Clearell, who's going to be around for a long time. There's a phenomenal player, but also for us, we are very proud of where we took England to and the game to, and now the game can keep progressing, and that's massive to be a part of that, and you'll be a trailblazer along the way, pave the way for these youngsters, and hopefully the game will keep improving.
And do you and the Spice Girls sit around over a coffee or a glass of something and talk the way kind of old folk do in clubhouses about, they don't know how lucky they've got it now, and if it wasn't for us? Is there a bit of that, and then you catch yourselves and wind yourselves in again?
I wouldn't say, it's just like commenting on the game, I guess. We've got a Spice Girl group that we on WhatsApp that we're quite regularly in contact, and we meet up and go on holidays and stuff together. So there's a bit back in my day, but people's tri lengths go from my 3 centimetre pick and plop over the line will probably turn into a from the halfway line sidestepping and gassing everybody. But no, it's not too bad. But there's certainly a few beverages involved and a lot of chat, but mainly a lot of banter. Which is great. You've got to be hardened to survive the Spice Girls for sure, because Kim Oliver, Kerry Large and Georgina Gulliver, they're really good at ripping. You've got to give it back.
And does Emily Scarrett get a bit of stick? She's got her own podcast now.
Oh yeah, for sure. She'll be getting some stick for that. And for years she couldn't do a press up. So when you're representing England, you'd like to think you could do a press up, but she can do press ups now. I'm reliably informed, so that's quite good. And the old T-Rex arms come out. She's an exceptional player, but she certainly gets a lot of stick, which is great. Keeps her grounded.
It sounds like she needs some Rocky Clark PT sessions.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure she's doing very well. Probably, I think does she live on a farm and throw hay bales around and things like that? So I'm sure she's putting in the graft.
I heard their first podcast and she was getting a bit of stick because even Haskell's name's not in the other version. It's the good, the bad, the rugby, but it's the good, the scaz in the rugby. So she's obviously in for the long haul, whereas he's going to get binned after.
Yeah, he's off. Yeah.
But those are great things to get exposure, and is there a lot of, although there's the banter, is everybody looking for ways to promote for the good of everyone?
Yeah, I think so. There's a couple of girls who've got their own podcasts and they support each other and go on each other's shows. You constantly, when there's somebody's advertising something, people will, say for example my boot camps or PT, people will retweet them and share them around their media stuff. And the same, when you got Nolly and Birth and people like that on telly, and you're just like, oh, great work, mate, it's going really well. Things like that. You've just got to support each other, because we've been through a hell of a lot together, and that you supported each other while you're on the pitch, you've got to support each other while you're off it as well.
And is there a bit of comfort in, you're under the microscope for England, so your results are, they matter and people comment on them. Was there a bit of comfort in going back to the club game and being able to relax, or did you hunger for more of that pressure?
God no! If you join Saracens, you're not going to like suddenly just go and play, like just throw it around rugby and just like turn up just before kickoff. No, it's there's there are certain expectations there, or have been Prem winners for many years because of the standards they have and the quality players. So for me, it was about getting myself in there as a coach, and Alex had obviously approached me about being a player coach, and that was something I was like, I don't know how that'll go, but actually it's worked really well, and I've really enjoyed it, and still having the opportunity to roll out, as I say, to come on generally after, say, Hannah Bottomans done her stint, and then they throw the old girl on for a little bit. It's been great, but unfortunately she's been injured, so that means they've pushed me around for a bit longer. So I've played a bit more than perhaps I would have done, but I love it, and as long as I'm good enough, I want to keep doing it and enjoying it, and like I say, rolling around there and plopping over the try line occasionally.
So how does coaching go when you're a player? Do you set something up and you get involved, or do you stand back and become the coach? So
it's really good, actually. The boys I work with, Lewis and Alex, are really, really good at facilitating me to lead as coach as well as join in. So it's a mixture of it all. So sometimes I'll lead, say, a 20-minute block, and then I'm able to join in with the rest of the session. I jump in and out sometimes on the set piece stuff, because it's, if we're doing scrum practice, it's quite important that I'm in some of the scrums, but also I need to see from the sideline as well where the other players are at and what they need to do. So it's a mixture of both, and so far, touch wood, it's gone really well, and hopefully the players will tell you that. Otherwise, I'm completely deluded and have no idea. So either or, I'm happy.
Well, exactly. That's the main thing. How long did you know you wanted to be a coach for?
So I went to uni, got my first one, and then got an opportunity to do my level 2, took it, and then that's when I really loved it. Started coaching at Henley, doing some school stuff, and then Bucks University, coaching the men's team, and then Chesham Stags as well, coaching the men and the women. So loved it, and then went on to coach county and now Saracens. So I've been all through the levels and different areas of the game, and it's something I'm as passionate about as my playing. And I wanted to be the best player I could for as long as I could, and the same goes for my coaching. I want to reach the top and help others and be the best I can. So
what sort of coach were you at the beginning?
Ooh, good question. I've always wanted people to have as much fun whilst they're learning. So lots of fun games and stuff. And I think some of the problems I had was assuming stuff had been learned if we'd covered it, and then a couple of weeks later I'd be like, well, why are we not doing that? We've done that a couple of weeks ago. But actually, I've now learned that you need to keep instilling those little nuggets to make sure that they remember, and it's inbuilt, it's a go-to, rather than just assuming, right, ticked off, next thing. You can't do that. You've still got to keep it honest and give it respect to get the best out of them.
When I started as a coach, I wanted to be able to control everything, because I felt like that was the job. Now, when the way you coach, and because you're also playing alongside them, the level is higher now than it would have been, especially with some of the teams that you're talking about. You're now dealing with elite performers. How much do you include players in what happens and what they need, or have you got the clear focus and you're the boss?
No, I'm very much open to hearing players' opinions, thoughts, things they've seen, because I always think you can, I've got my ideas, but there might be something I don't see that somebody else sees, and we've got amazing players around us that I trust all of those guys if they've seen something and to speak up and say it. And equally, I want to be, because I'm also there as a player as well, I want them to tell me when my standards aren't good enough. And I've certainly had that off some of the girls, which has been great, and I would give that back to them as a player. Right, oh, you need to pass that. It was a 2-on-1 or something. And equally, as a coach, obviously, I'd pull it up if it needed to. So we've got so many leaders like the Packers, the Poppies, the Bots, that kind of thing, that you can give a lot of stuff over to those guys, and then they're happy to bring back their stance on it as well. So it's been really good and really rewarding working with Tamara as well, who's a legend, and she knows her stuff, and she's a great player and coach. So it's been lovely to get to work alongside her and bounce ideas off each other and work towards the same goal. And she's old as well, which helps.
You keep coming back to this age thing. Is that something that you're mindful of if you're still loving playing? When do you think is going to come the time where, okay, I now want to love coaching more? Is it going to be really difficult? Can you be a head coach and a player?
I probably wouldn't be a head coach and player. I wouldn't have thought. And I know my days are numbered, but I'm certainly, hanging on by my fingernails, and hopefully, keep putting in the odd shift. I think I'll know when that time is, and equally, if Alex needs to have that chat with me, which if I haven't come to him first, then I'd want him to be honest with me, because there might be different opportunities that it just happens naturally anyway. But certainly, I have no plans on retiring yet. I think I'd know, say, if I was getting dicked in the scrums or getting run over with tackles or like getting ended every carry I did, that'd sort of be a bit of a telltale sign that probably not where you need to be. But at the moment, I'm still holding my own. So still happy to carry on and see where it goes.
And you and Kat Merchant have been a coaching team. Is there excitement there if you get to become a head coach about building that team around you, bringing in all the parts that you think would work? Would that be something that gets you excited?
Yeah, I'd certainly. I'd love to build the coaching team around me. I'm happy in the one I'm in, but certainly I've worked with some other tremendous coaches along the way, and I know everything that those girls bring to the game, like Kat, like knowledge of the game and her expertise in coaching was brilliant. Tamara's brilliant. Katie McLean, like all of those girls, Kim Oliver. I'd happily work with any of them obviously I'm probably going to be working with a back as I've got my forwards hat on most of the time, but I'm happy to coach the backs on the odd occasion, teach them a thing or two.
Absolutely. Every prop wants to coach the backs. It's absolutely ingrained in them. So the future, we spoke about the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to feature Rochelle Clark in some way, shape or form. How often are you asked for your opinion on where you think it should go? Do the RFU, does England Rugby, the coaches, does the league, does anybody come and say, Rocky, what do you think about this?
Oh, good question. I have regular chats around the coaching community. I'd like to be involved a little bit more. Obviously, because I'm with Saracens, I'm probably hamstringed a little in terms of RFU stuff, but certainly I'd love to be involved and coach at that next level at some point in my career. And I'm always happy to help out and, as we've said, help grow the game and develop. I've done some under 20s scrum stuff, which I really enjoyed. And so I'd love to be able to go and give back to the youngsters on that performance level or community level, whatever it is, to help them reach their potential. And that's one of the main things of my goal as a coach, is to help the player, whether or not they might have a really high flying career, or they might just be doing it for the enjoyment to socialize, whatever it is, to help them be the best they can be.
And you've gathered unbelievable knowledge. You've shared and created unbelievable experiences. You're a level 4 coach with ambition to coach. What do you think is the thing you've learned from all the coaches that makes Rocky ready for that job? You've spoken a lot about personality and emotion and relationships. What's the thing that you think's your ticket?
Yeah, I think so. my niche is that I'm very player focused, and I think it's really, really important to know what makes the player tick to get the best out of them. You've got to have empathy with the player, know what's going on in their life other than rugby. You understand why maybe they're having an off day or an off week or an off month, rather than just suddenly, oh, they didn't play well, they're gone, sort of thing. If they're normally, you're sort of starting players, so it's important to know those bits about it and what works for them, whether they need an arm around the shoulder and a bit of a chat, or they need to be told, right, you need to do that better. Whatever it is, know your players really well, and then install the confidence in them and give them opportunity to have success and back them. And I think confidence is a massive thing for coaches to give back to players. And this is going to sound a bit weird, but I've learned not what to do by some of the coaches along the way. Like, I've liked that stuff, or I haven't liked that. So just take the stuff that's worked really well and then ditch the stuff that hasn't worked so well.
Can you imagine 15-year-old Rochelle Clark talking the way you're talking just now?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But very happy I'm able to voice my opinion and be me.
Yeah, and that experience you've had has brought you to this point. What was it like to have that success and still with the career and get an MBE? Like, was that, you must have been floating on clouds at that point.
Oh, it was epic. I just had like this amazing couple of years. Like we went from strength to strength, and highlights along the way are obviously winning the World Cup. Then I got the MBE letter, and then we won the Spotty Team of the Year, which was amazing. A great party as well after, and then I got my 100 caps after that, and it just kept happening. And I was just like, oh my God, RPA Player of the Year. Like, it just kept happening. I was just so happy. Like, I was just like, I can't believe it. It was like the icing on the cake. It was something I'd not gone, oh, I want to be a rugby player in an MBE. I've never said that, but I'm very honoured and proud to have been nominated for that and received it. And it's the same as getting the 100 caps, winning the World Cup. It's all, I could never have imagined it in my wildest dreams. But hey, I'm so glad I've managed to grab hold of everything and carry on.
It's absolutely spectacular. It is so good. Now, one of the things, and we're beginning to wind down here, so apologies, and I love to talk, and I think I could be here all day, but one of the things that I wonder, you have had a career as well as a rugby career. You've been successful. You've had to time manage and communicate and all those skills that we hear about. And we hear a lot about male professional players struggling to get into real life when rugby finishes. Is that something you've ever experienced? Have you ever had that come down or lack of direction or feeling of, I don't know what my purpose is? It doesn't sound like it.
Well, I probably hide that well, because it was really, really tough retiring internationally, when that had been obviously such a massive chunk of my life, and I really struggled mentally, and I've had a lot of help with that, and it's just something that everybody needs to be prepared for, and you have no idea until you retire that you're actually going to probably go to that crap place. So it's really important that people have an alternative life or something different than rugby, that then when that starts to change, they don't feel completely lost, because you're right, that lack of direction, lack of purpose, like I just didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to be, and just sort of floating along, but now I'm in a much better place, and I've got my career focus, and I'm building my PT and working on my coaching and developing that, and so it's stepping forward, and I want to carry on doing some work with commentating and stuff, which I've had some opportunity with, and hopefully get a little bit more, but just want to see where it takes me and be the best I can. So, but that's probably that drive that got me so far in rugby. I think that now I want to do it with the rest of my life, but Now, they do say, I think it takes like at least a couple of years to sort of take that step away from feeling, gutted that you're not there, or, what you should be doing with your life. Definitely.
Is it like a breakup of a relationship? Is that the emotion that maybe mere mortals like I can relate to?
Oh yeah, it's like, I had a 15-year relationship with this, amazing thing that I loved all of the time, and to then have that ripped away from you and to not be part of it was really cruel and really, really hard. So yeah, that was definitely so hard to get through. But I think it's made me grow as a person and be the person I am now, rather than just still trying to be that England player, or now I'm Rocky, non-England player. So it's it's still quite a bit of me to go around,
Now you're Rocky, just legend. That's what it is.
I take that. That's
now,
cool.
One of the things the more I do these, the more I speak to people, and the people that come on these things tend to have succeeded in some way, shape, or form, to different extents. Not everyone is the most capped player for their country and won a World Cup and an MBE and all those things, but people have achieved. But that's really interesting to hear that there has been bumps for you, because social media or reading an article in the Guardian or the Independent, it appears that it's been just sequential, just step to success. I did that, and then I got that, and then I got that, and then I got that. But you've had those bumps. Who around you has been important when you've had those moments?
Oh yeah, like friends and family has been huge to get me through, and I went through quite a bad time of sort of anxiety and depression, and those friends and family members that got me through. And you just go through quite a period of time of just being numb, and that was really weird for me to go through that. But those guys that stood by me forced me to go out on dog walks and coffees, and going to the pub or whatever. And even though I didn't have a lot of chat, it was just really really important to still keep some of those routines that I normally absolutely love. And getting some professional help as well, and talking to the RPA as well. So that was huge for me, because I never, I always felt like I'd be weak if I showed any sort of weakness. But actually, I think it's been a strength and the ability to talk about it now, which I couldn't talk about it a year ago. So I'm hoping if somebody hears this, it'll give them the strength to get up and get some help if they need it. And you will get better, and it will just be time and some help that will help.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That is amazing. So those people that helped, they were there in the good times too.
Oh, massively, yeah.
And they were there to support you when they knew you needed it. What moment? You've won a World Cup, you've been to Celine Dion, you've been to Wimbledon, you're an MBE, you've done all those things. What one moment did you actually have the time to stop and go, oh my God, what am I doing here?
It's like occasionally when we was having all those invites and stuff, it was like, oh my God, I'm in the royal box. Like, this is cool. You sort of had that mini moment then. But it's, even now I still, maybe it was once I fully give up playing, I'll have that, Jesus, you have done so much now, and you should be so proud of yourself, and that kind of thing. But I don't know, I just keep bobbling along to the next day, and just, like I said, try and be in the present, and enjoy the here and now, and look back very fondly upon the things I've done. But yeah, I guess it's, maybe I still haven't been there. I don't know. It's quite a hard question to answer. Good question.
That's a great thing to hear, because although the World Cup was the best day of your life, it sounds to me like there's still a chance you're going to have another best day of your life.
Oh, I hope so.
with that attitude you've got, I'm going to just do the thing in front of me really, really well, and then we'll see what the next thing is. So,
yeah.
Have you ever been a planner? Have you ever been somebody who's obviously there's the 4-year cycle and there's all that stuff, but could you have planned something that you think that's what I should have achieved, or I should have got a proper job, or?
No, I just keep floating along to the next day. Sometimes, I can achieve things through the skin of my teeth, and that's something I've worked on. But it's ironic because I love making lists. Like, people take the mickey out of me writing lists. I've written a list here, like, what I've got to do and stuff, and I'm like, I wish I actually stuck to them. I'd probably be a hell of a lot more productive, because it's really weird, but I love ticking off on my list. But I wish I could have the concentration just to stay on that one thing. But I'm like, floating around doing the next thing. So
that doesn't sound like that's the Rocky Clark we know and love. I'm not sure we want Rocky Clark to stick on one thing. Rocky, I've absolutely loved this, and I have made a list, and I think I've got to about half of it because there is so much in there. But I've asked people at the finish to finish the sentence, so I'm going to ask you to finish the sentence. For Rocky Clark, happiness is
playing rugby, walking my dog, drinking coffee, and the occasional beer. Oh, and seeing friends.
that sounds pretty spectacular to me. That sounds like almost perfection. Rocky, thank you very much. You're a very busy lady. I don't know when you sleep. I'm not surprised that you need lists to know what is going on. But thank you for giving up some time to come and speak to me. I have absolutely loved it, and I hope everybody that listens in does as well, because you are absolutely spectacular. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I loved it, and hopefully the listeners will enjoy it.
They will indeed. Thank you, Rocky. All the best. See you soon.
Bye.
Well, we've come to lots of conclusions, and some of it has reinforced the things that I've thought. We build relationships, we share experiences, and we make memories. And Rocky Clark, I think, hits all three of those. She has built relationships that started very young, and she keeps them going. She knows that that's important to coaching. She has absolutely shared experiences, highs and lows, and we heard a lot about them and made memories. And one day she might stop still for long enough to look back and give herself a bit of a pat on the back and enjoy them, probably with the Spice Girls, and by the sound of things, a beer. I have absolutely loved speaking to the one and the only Rocky Clark. Hopefully you've enjoyed it too. Please download us on Apple, Acast and Spotify. Subscribe and leave us a review. Please let us know what you think. And if you didn't enjoy it, then I was always told that if you've nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But please get involved and give us a review. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. You can have a watch to see what happens. I have absolutely loved it again and can't wait to speak to you again in the future. My name is Bruce Aitchison from the Happiness Is podcast, and my happiness is egg-shaped. Farewell, and I'll speak to you soon.